In today's fast-paced society of instant communication and gratification, there's really nothing quite like the thought, the care, and detail that goes into a handwritten letter.
That special quality has taken on a whole new meaning for one Sandusky woman. In this News 5 original, Jordan Vandenberg explains why.
Dear Betty,
letter writing is a lost art.
at last I got to the urge to keep my promise and write one of my annual letters.
But sending one
There isn't much that I can write about.
will always come second
How are your lessons by now?
to receiving one.
I know I would value it. It would mean the world to me.
A small school rich with history, Notre Dame College has always had a personal touch.
I live it every day.
Karen Polking was alone in her office the day before Good Friday
It was very late in the day.
when from the mailroom came a staff member
She had a look on her face.
with a damaged envelope in hand. It was postmarked.
April 29th, 1947. I did the math. The first thing I did in my head was, my God, this letter is like 73 years old. I mean, where's it been? Where has it been?
The penmanship was flawless, and the message was touching in its simplicity. A glimpse into a father's love for his daughter.
In the letter, I think he mentioned he was going to come visit her, perhaps in a couple of weeks. So mayhap he did, mayhap he didn't, but she never got the letter.
Deep into the archives they went with only a name to work with.
Betty Jane Gerhardt.
Betty's most recent address was decades old.
Thank God for the internet. I just Googled Elizabeth Jane Gerhardt, and what came up, sad to say, was Victor's obituary.
Victor Smith's 2018 obituary said he was survived by his wife, Betty. Polking turned to the white pages, unsure if Betty was still alive.
The number I was focusing in on was for Parkview Senior Living Community.
Polking put the letter in the mail, and this time it arrived on time.
My phone rang here in the office, and it was Betty Jane.
I was shocked. I was more than happy though, but I was really surprised. Never expected one 73 years later.
Her father, Joseph, lived to be 93 and had 44 grandchildren. Alongside the pictures and memories, Betty, now 92, has this letter to remember her father. And it's all because someone cared enough to try.
She said, this made my day. And so then when she told me that, I said, stop, you just made mine.
I'm just thrilled to death. Everybody is, all my sisters, the little 4-year-old then are 77 now, and they're as excited as any of us. Yep. The letter's far more valuable to me than any amount of money, that's for sure.
No one handwrites letters anymore, but perhaps we should.
Dear Betty,
because there is no greater feeling
how are your lessons by now?
than to receive one.
It was meant to be. She was meant to get it.
73 years later.
With best wishes, love, Dad.
Betty says she's made copies of the letter to be sent to her surviving sisters, and they will be sent using the U.S. Postal Service. Jordan Vandenberg, News 5.
I'll tell you what, well-written letter and a well-written story, Jordan. Way to go. So where has the letter been all this time? Well, that's where this mystery deepens. A spokesperson for the Postal Service says there's no real way of knowing how the letter re-entered the mail system, but the Postal Service was glad to deliver that letter nonetheless.